Aerpio Pharmaceuticals ARPO stock. This is Brian Lewis with MMT Investing. And so the news today on this is that they have a drug, a drug called razuprotafib for treating the lung symptoms and COVID infection and potentially reducing the need for respirators. There's no news on this drug. It's just being introduced into a study, the I-SPY study, which is a rapid screening test uh, to see if this drug's going to be effective. So we're getting some hype here. And it's actually shot up on open, which is very rare on these medical kind of blasts. And so this one will be an interesting to watch through today. And this stock is not uh, already way up. It's had a relatively kind of flat ride here, and it did this one kind of this one spike and came back down, and this one is getting more action, which is pretty interesting. And so this is not as crazy as a vaccine, that's trying to cure the thing or something. This is just for the respiratory symptoms to reduce the need for mechanical ventilation. And so generally these news hypes will come back down kind of usually a little bit above where the stock was before the hype. But we'll see what this one does. Sometimes they'll pop up and come down a bit the next day. And yeah, I mean, in general, these news blasts don't really excite me much, other than maybe you wanted to try to do like a little short on these because they usually settle back down. Um, and then after it settles down, then you can think about, this is not financial advice, but that's one to think about, maybe a lottery ticket thing. And this one's not crazy expensive right now, um, unlike some of the other like the vaccine stocks and stuff like that. And so let's take a look at the S&P and see what we got going on over there. Okay, yeah. So let's let's. All right, I'm out on the daily candlesticks on the MACD and taking a look. And so we're still up in bull territory and separating farther up into bull territory. So this looks like it's trying to go up longer term, like on the month to month right now. And so the bears would need sort of a U-turn reversal on this blue line and want to pull it all the way back down into bear territory. And the bulls are just good to just wiggle around up here. Any kind of wobbling and wiggling up in the bull side, like this little wobble here, is very bullish. Even though that's just a slight, almost flat move, that's a big bullish move on the chart. Yep, so that was the bears want to pull this thing way down here. Yeah, let's go through and zoom in on this and see where we are. Okay, so it's up and maybe turning, maybe turning bullish, maybe turning, starting to come down. And that's not a steep enough angle to be very bearish. It needs to come down kind of sharper than that to pull it down. And so just seeing if it's gonna turn, which way it's gonna go. So it's kind of teetering on a bear move here, but it's not really making one yet. And so that's kind of a bullish outlook for now. And the bears would need to do sort of a U-turn, big move down here to get any kind of bearish stuff today. And there was a big crazy move yesterday. There was a big bear move and it just reversed, and then overnight again we keep getting moves up overnight. And the trading during the day is a lot of sideways action, and then the off hours trading keeps popping it up to a higher level. And so this is an interesting one. Yeah, it's not really a normal flat. So yeah, this one's not really giving away any clues about which direction it wants to go. It's doing a kind of a crazy move to open. So um, right now the technicals are looking more bullish, and then of course all of the fundamentals and everything like that are way more bearish. Um, but we are up here on the bull side of this moving average, and so we got a rejection and pop back up above it here, which is pretty crazy. And so the bulls, like the this moving average, kind of contains bull markets to the upside and contains bear markets to the downside. So the bears need to get down below this thing to continue in a bear market, and the bulls want to get up away from this thing in order to switch into an entire bull market, which would indicate a huge, like, move to all-time highs if it broke out, big in this direction. And so, yeah, this thing, let's see, let's see what this thing does. It's looking more bullish than bearish right now on the technicals. And so, yeah, the bears need to make like a big move down in order for this thing to actually aim bearish, and it's not happening right now. So I think the more kind of sideways action, it's just kind of the bears are not pulling it down, and it would look more like a pennant, I think. And so that's kind of the look on the technicals here. And let's flip through some other stuff and see what's going on. Check out the Dow. Oh, the Dow is going crazy. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. All right. And so the Dow is down a little bit. Let's go out to hourlies. Yeah, wild. Okay. Yeah, so the Dow is down and now it's making a big bounce. And then the DXY. Interesting. The dollar is kind of working its way down, which would indicate that the Fed is printing more than the other governments are printing at the moment. And Bitcoin. And then as far as the Fed printing, I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign as far as the exchange rates relative to the stock market. And Bitcoin is making a big move back up. So Bitcoin's been kind of hovering around this downtrend line for a while. So usually when Bitcoin gets above this line, it gets rejected. And it hasn't gotten rejected yet, and it's trying to move up. So this will be interesting to see what Bitcoin tries to do, see if it can get away from this line or not. But this still doesn't look super bullish to me on Bitcoin. Let's see, just two. Yeah, usually on a consolidation kind of thing, you usually get three taps before a reverse, at least at least another tap. I don't. Yeah, this chart doesn't look good to me on Bitcoin. And gold, just kind of blah, not much going on. And then I think silver's popped up. Oh yeah, silver did that move, but now it's just kind of sitting there. So this is weird on all the indicators. And Tesla is looking scary. Tesla is kind of broken down outside of this wedge. and it could break out to the downside here. Uh, yeah, yeah, Tesla looks kind of scary, and it looks like it's trying to go down on the dailies. Um, so that is, let's flip through. I haven't flipped through these on Tesla. Just kind of bearish, like a little, just neutral. So it looks like it's trying to trend bearish, but it's not really making a move right now. It's just kind of neutralized here. And so, yeah, it would have to make a pretty decent move, but it looks like it is trying to trend bearish. But this is bull territory up here, so that angle is not bearish yet. But if this keeps diverging more, it looks like it's diverging, but it needs to get to a steeper angle and get down here in order to get bearish. So any wobbling up here would be bullish for Tesla. But that's a dangerous spot. And the Russell is raging, okay. Sort of a parabolic move up. XLF. Yeah, financials are making a big move up. So yeah, a bunch of these ones that were lower are popping up. And then oil, this isn't the oil prices. This is the USO. And the USO is just kind of, oh, that's on the dailies. Let me get in on a closer chart so you can see what's going on. Yeah, USO is just looking kind of droopy. It got a big peak here and it's just kind of drooping down. But the downside moves on the USO are usually a little more exaggerated than the upside moves. So I don't think probably the oil prices is quite as low as the USO is here. It's only a couple. Yeah. So yeah, again, the structure on the USO relative to the actual oil price is when it bounces up, it doesn't get 100% of the bounce up. But then when it moves down, it does get 100% of the move down, or even more than 100%, just because of the contango and the compounding on the way that the thing is structured. And then also the USO got banned from buying the short-term futures, and so they're holding other stuff. They're holding like some treasuries and holding some cash and trying to get longer-term futures. So the USO is kind of weird right now. And let's look at the VIX. See where our volatility is. Okay. So yeah, this looks kind of dangerous on the VIX. It looks like we put in a higher bottom on the VIX, and we're getting a little bit of volatility, but it looks like it's trying to go up, and so that looks a little bit dangerous. And the volatility is still really high. So if you look at kind of the volatility, usually 10 to 20 is kind of a normal range, and 20 is kind of dangerous. But this market has been up, up in the 30s or, way up at some points. But this is still a really dangerous range as far as downside risk in the stock market goes. And so that's not surprising. I mean, just fundamentally, you would expect there to be some fear in the market, and stuff is crazy right now. But the VIX is not chilling and going down. It's kind of getting crazier and kind of staying up. So that looks really dangerous on the VIX. And so, yeah, there's just a conflict of things here. I mean, stocks are going up pretty aggressively, but it's not chilling the VIX out, which is interesting. And yeah, just the conundrum on whether we're in a bear market or a bull market right now. And switching into a bull market at this point would indicate a big, you know, a big move up to all-time highs. And so that's just going to be really interesting to watch if we get rejected out of this zone again, or if it just kind of hangs out for a while. It looks like it's still just kind of fighting sideways. But today's trading will be really interesting to see if it can stay above here. And I have the 130-day moving average, which I like better than like the 200-day. It's a little higher than the 200. It gets more reactions than the 200 usually. And so we are getting some reactions all over it right here. And yeah, super drama territory. And it's not trading advice. And please hit the like button and subscribe. And I forget which stock we're even talking about on this one, but let's look at the general market, and happy trading.